On county cricketer. Okay, guys, let's talk about the England squad. It was announced this week. The Zimbabwe Test match is what? It's in about 2 weeks' time, isn't it? And so it means that we're not going to see the likes of Joe Root and Harry Brook play for their counties again, and all those others that kind of pop their head up momentarily. First off, well, let's start with you, Harmy. Your thoughts on the squad named and the makeup of the side as you see it.
No surprise, at all. No shocks to the system where you think, or what people might have said, playing Zimbabwe, might play the younger side, giving somebody a chance. But I don't think England can afford that, even though they've got the second in the rankings. I don't think they can afford that with what they've got coming up. They need to start meaningful. They need to start well on the front foot. On the side, I think if it's India first Test match, I'm putting four seamers. As much as I want to see how Bashir would go, I wouldn't be able to play him, not with what's coming in. He's a different bowler, yes, when Ben Stokes is at mid-on and mid-off, but I don't think England could have afforded going in. But with playing Zimbabwe, it gives him a chance to get 25 to 40 overs under his belt with Ben Stokes and hopefully pick up a few wickets and give him some confidence going forward and giving England a spin option, because they're going to continue with him along with the likes of Zach Crawley and Ollie Pope. And the same with the bowling unit. I'm looking at this and going, you've got to play Tone. He's your point of difference. Atkinson, after last year, has to bat for last summer and the last winter, has to play. And then, again, if it was India, I'd probably say we know what Potts can do, so I'd stick with Potts. But I think, unfortunately, for Matt Potts, I think you have to have a look at Sam Cook. And so Potts, for me, Potts and Cox would miss out of the 13 that England have picked. And I said on following on about half an hour ago with Neil Manthorp, and it's not right, this, but it will happen. Sam Cook will be judged probably quicker than any other of the younger, cooler bowlers that England have got. All the England bowlers that coming through the pathway and the system and everything that come will be given a chance to, make a mistake, get injured, and still be quite relevant. I think, unfortunately for Sam Cook, a lot of people will talk about his pace. A lot of people will talk, can he bowl on international pitches? Can he play against international players? And he'll be judged very quickly. So I hope for Sam Cook's sake, he does start well, because he might be one of these lucky ones that plays 2 Test matches, gets 4 to 8 Test match wickets, and unfortunately people think, he's not quick enough, he's not good enough to get top players out and all that.
The James Kirtley or Saggers or whatever of his day, the James Kirtley or the Saggers or
Saggers, Ed Giddens, James Kirtley, all these. I hope Cook's not like that. I think he's got more skills than that. But unfortunately for Sam, he's got to hit the ground running, because you get judged very quickly.
He does keep proving people wrong, doesn't it? Whether it's been with the Kookaburra ball or with the white ball or bowling in Australia. I hope so too.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? This is sad. Yeah, a lot happens in this country, and I hope it does. I mean, maybe not that doesn't, but it will.
No, you're dead right, because, for example, they say he's always been part of their thoughts, but they've got 29 contracted players, and he's not one of them. So it doesn't sound that much if he's one of them that have been massively in their thoughts. So he's earned it the hard way, completely opposite to, say, Shoaib. Not saying either's particularly right or wrong. Look, just onto the squad properly, Normo. So my instinctive reaction was very different from my considered reaction. The instinctive reaction is, gee, it's hard to get dropped. I mean, you wonder what a couple of those fellas have to do. But actually, keep your eye on the prize. Their priority is winning in Australia in particular. And they're picking players they think they can do that. And they think that Shoaib and Crawley in particular have those skills. And on that logic, I get it. It's not necessarily saying it's what I'd have done, but I get it. It's consistent and there is some logic there. So I've got no massive criticism.
Yeah, you agree with that? I think, well, the Bashir one may be like, I mean, the Bashir one, I find that I'd split the Crawley and Bashir decisions differently. Like, it almost confuses me more. It confuses me more now when people are surprised that Crawley's in the squad. Like, he's their guy. He is not just their guy, but he's been their guy for Australia for so long. Since was pulling Stark in front of the square at Sydney in the last Ashes series. They fancied him for that. He then belted him at times in the had a really good Ashes series in 23. Like Zach Crawley is going to open the bat in Australia unless he breaks a finger or something. Like we've all known that for such a long time, and he is also probably he's also, I'd say, the most at risk if things go wrong for the team and the setup changes after that series, because he is their guy and he was their guy for that purpose. So I almost find it almost like faux outrage at this point when people lose their mind at Crawley's session, because of course he's like, we know he's going to play. Bashir one I find slightly different because I just don't. He's not. There's no evidence that he's provided no evidence the last year that he's going to go out to Australia and be the bowler he wanted to be out there. He went on the Lions tour and he got belted. He came back and he got whacked by Cardiff University and he went on Lincoln Morgan to 2 wickets. Like there was no. Also, finger spin in Australia doesn't have a great track record anyway. So, I think they're slightly different. I understand. I understand, I suppose, the loyalty thing and then the desire to look after someone of his experience and his age, which was which they very much put on him. He didn't select himself for India. I did think they might have gone a different way with the spinner, but for the rest of the squad, I think because of what they've got coming up, I don't think I expect them to bring someone in who would suddenly put pressure on someone. If you bring McKinney in now, it puts pressure on Crawley, for example, and I think the one thing that have been quite consistent with over quite a long period of time is they don't like bringing a spare player who might immediately put a player in front of them at immediate risk, if that makes sense. Yeah, so just what we do is about confidence and building guys up and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I don't expect anything to change particularly for Australia, because that is where all roads lead, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Nick, about in your asking your opinions on both your opinions on where England would have gone if Jacob Bethel had been there, because obviously Cox is the spare player, but I would imagine Bethel would have been the other Cox selection from a 13 point of view. England, in my list here, you've got Wilkes, Archer, Carson, possibly Wood. I'm thinking for the next 10 test matches after this one. Them with Bethel, with this 13, there's probably going to be a nucleus of England's group. You probably stick Leach in there if someone happened to show up here, because he'd be the next spinner off the right. So where does Bethel fit into this?
Okay, I've got a theory, and I should say this isn't from a source, so I haven't been told this or anything. Bethel's happy at the IPL at the moment, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's hanging out with really great players. He's opening the batting with Virat Kohli, for God's sake. No doubt he's learning masses and having brilliant experiences. But is he happy because he's also being told he's in the thoughts and he's probably going to play against India? That would be my hypothesis. That would be my theory, that he's in.
Yeah, I go with that, George. I think he is in. And
You'd stress. I haven't been told that. I don't think he does.
no, I haven't been told that either, but I read that exactly the same. I think that Jordan Cox was being brought in New Zealand. They wanted to have a look at him ahead of Ollie Pope. And then, of course, Pope played and took the gloves and actually played pretty well in New Zealand. I think people forget, if it wasn't for his innings alongside Harry Brook in Christchurch and Wellington, could have been a different result. I like Pope at 6, whether he's keeping the gloves or not. I'm not sure he's ever really convinced at 3. There are some people who think he's doing just fine. But I think Bethel's in, and I think Smith's in. And I think Pope may well be out.
The challenge they've got, of course, is that rewind by a year to when was it a year? 2 years. When am I going mad at? The Ireland Test, 2 years ago. Pope filled his boots, and that one-off test does give everyone a chance, and whether it's against Zimbabwe, whether it's against Australia or whoever, if you've got one-off test match and you're selected in it, you should go and get a double 100. Like, good luck dropping that guy for, then whoever it's against, for the next test, 6-8 weeks down the line, so, or whenever the first India test is, so not 6-8 weeks. So yeah, that is the risk with it. It's all very well to say to Jacob Bethel, to say to anyone, you'll be in for this one. But at any level of cricket and at any level of sport, if you say, as soon as you start guaranteeing people selection for anything a couple of games down the line, you leave yourself very open to snookers, don't you?
Yeah, you are right. If Pope scores a double 100 against Zimbabwe, then that's going to create a
Hold on, get it. He only gets in for one person. Crawley's going nowhere, and he doesn't bat 4-7. So it's only one place that Jacob Bethel can fit in. I mean, Root Brook Stokes is going nowhere. The one thing now England probably got, if something happens to Ben, is they've got a viable option as a captain in Harry, which I didn't think they've had last 18 months. But now he's white ball captain. I think with Pope becomes even more vulnerable. But if Ollie Pope, who is very, very good at these games, goes and bangs runs, then it'd be very, very difficult, like Nick said, to drop him.
It's also a huge ask. I mean, I know we're all kind of like sold on this high ceiling of Jacob Bethel, and the spin helps as well. But batting at 3, I'm surprised that nobody's really pushed forward the notion that maybe Jamie Smith should bat 3 and the gloves go elsewhere.
That's the it wouldn't if I was to bet on what will happen in English Test cricket in 10 years' time, I think that feels likelier than Smith batting 7 as the keeper, particularly once you move on from Root and Stokes. Like, you're looking at you're going to be asking who the next best batter in the country, and Smith may well be among those. And also, and it's another way. And of course, it's another long term. It's another long term spot for Ollie Pope, isn't it? Like, that way, that is the other way. Of course, Bethel gets in is the way he got in over the winter, which is that something happens to Jamie Smith and Ollie Pope's keeping wicket, and therefore Pope drops to 6, 7, and then there is a spot at 3 for Bethel, or Pope bats at 3 and with the gloves. I don't know if they want to do that. I mean, not many have done that ever, really. But I can see a world where Smith is batting the top 5 without the gloves in 2 or 3 years' time. Nothing against his keeping. I just think he's that good.
He is that good, and there's a lot of keepers.
Yeah, but the thing is that if Smith comes in as a keeper, Smith loses the gloves. And the guy who you want to drop to get Bethel in is actually now got to keep wicket, and that's Ollie Pope. So you start...
Not as an England thing, just like a down the now deal where Smith plays, a bit like the Johnny Bairstow sort of career axis in a way. That there'll be times when he's got the gloves and times when he had times when he hasn't got the gloves.
Also, like, it is crazy that England have got this guy in Ollie Pope who has batted at 3. He's been captain. He's vice captain or was vice captain. He can bat at 6 and he can keep. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want in and around the squad, isn't it? Because if there's an injury, pretty much anywhere to the captain, your number 6, 7 or 3, you've got someone who can come in and do it.
That was literally a New Zealand series, wasn't it? He wasn't meant to keep in New Zealand. It was meant to be Jordan Cox. And then Harry Robinson had his passport to hand when he got picked up. When he got picked, Pope might not have played because it might well. Or sorry, Pope might well not have kept, and Bethel might not have played because it might well have gone Pope at 3 and Robinson at 7. So, absolutely, he's the man for all seasons. Like, I don't think you're going to move him on from the squad at all anytime soon because he does offer so much in so many areas. But he's, as Army says, obviously the most vulnerable moment because his is Bethel's spot and Bethel's is his spot. So something's going to have to give at some point.
Is it Paul Warhurst or Dion Dublin of his time? There's a good timely reference for you there, Norma.
Yeah, I love the bit of Dion Dublin.